If I could tell homeschool moms one thing as they get near to the end of the school year, it's this: you are not behind. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Meg. I'm a homeschool mom of 4 girls and a homeschool graduate myself. I recently chatted about something over on my Instagram page that really resonated with a lot of homeschool moms. So I wanted to just talk briefly about it here to encourage the homeschool moms that I've met in this YouTube community. If you're anything like me, you're getting close to the end of your homeschool school year, and you might be flipping through your planner or your kids' textbooks and realizing that you have more lessons left than days in the year. It's not uncommon for that to happen, and sometimes that can leave us mamas feeling a little guilty that we didn't get the things done, and also a little pressured to try and get those things done and try and squeeze them in before the end of the year. And so I just wanted to talk about that and flush out some of those worries so that way you can end your school year on a high note without any guilt and without any pressure. The first thing I want you to know is that just because you are not finishing your book this year does not mean that you fell behind. I want you instead to reframe it and think about it like this: you went at the pace that was good for your child. One of the best reasons to homeschool is so that our children can learn at their own pace. They're not pressured or rushed through concepts just in order to stay on schedule, that we can take the time and go through some lessons slowly, or repeat some lessons, or take some days to take the lessons off of the page and learn in some hands-on ways. And doing all of this sometimes means that we get behind in our workbook and we don't stay on the schedule that will have us finishing the book by the end of the year. But that doesn't mean that you are actually behind. So celebrate all the things that your child did accomplish, all that they learned, and recognize that they learned it at a pace that they could handle. They learned it in a way that did not stress them out or pressure them. And pat yourself on the back for allowing your child that space this year to learn. You allowed learning to flourish. You did not squash a love of learning with the pressure of trying to complete workbooks on time. And that is one of the beautiful things about homeschooling. The second thing I want you to keep in mind is look back on your school year and think about all the learning experiences that you had that were outside of the textbook. What areas of life did you make room for that gave your child learning experiences not on the page? For us, our family had a few new babies born. Not ours personally, but 2 of my sisters had brand new babies. So we took unplanned days off of school to be there for them. We served them by watching their other kids. We took meals to them. We also had families in our church that had new babies, and so we took days to prepare meals and care and serve them. And I'm sure in your family there were multiple things that came up that you made room for that sometimes might have required you to take a day off of school. But think about all the learning that happened off of the page during those times. Homeschooling is so much more than just checking the boxes and saying that we completed the curriculum. We all know this as homeschool moms. This is all a part of our why, but sometimes we still feel that guilt at the end of the school year when we see what we didn't get done. So I'm just encouraging you now to stop and remember that one of the other beautiful things about homeschooling is that we can provide our kids with so much learning in real life situations and teach them so much more than just math and language. We can teach them how to serve others. We can teach them life skills. We can teach them how to prioritize relationships over work. Just so much happens outside of the pages of the textbooks. And then the last thing that I want to remind you of, so that you're not stressed and not pressured about not finishing your books at the end of the year, is that textbooks are not the only way to measure learning. Like we just talked about, life experiences, hands-on learning that happens outside of the book are all ways that we can think back on our year and see how much our kids have learned and how much they've grown over this last school year. Just because they're not finishing their math book doesn't mean they didn't learn so many new math concepts this year, and probably plenty of math concepts to take them into the following school year. Don't look at the pages and lessons that you have left and stress out about what they're not learning. Instead, step back and look at the big picture. Think about ways they grew in character this year. Think about ways they grew in maturity. Did they become more independent in their schoolwork? Did their ability to problem solve on their own really improve from the beginning till now? Those kinds of things can't be measured by just how many problems they completed on a page. So don't measure your homeschool year in just the amount of pages that you accomplished in your textbooks. Now, you might be listening to me say all of this and think, yeah, that sounds good, but honestly, I feel like maybe we could have been a little bit more disciplined. We probably could have done better. I get it. I can tend to have a type A personality. I like when all the boxes look checked. I like to see things accomplished. So I totally get it. In fact, the whole reason I even brought this up on my Instagram last week was because I was feeling that pressure. I was looking at some of my kids' textbooks and realizing some of the lessons that we weren't going to get to, and I was starting to feel a little pressured to try and cram it all in and get it all done. And I had to take a step back too and just reframe my thinking with all of the things that I just talked about. But in addition to that, I also took some practical steps so that we could finish out our school year strong. The first one is I looked through the textbooks to see if there was anything that I really thought was important for my kids to learn before the end of the school year. I realized when I looked through my first grader's textbook that there was only one new concept that she was learning between now and the end of the year. The rest of it was all review. I bet that's probably true for so many textbooks. So what I'm going to do with her is skip forward to some of those lessons that are teaching the new concept, and we're just going to focus on those for the rest of the year, and then maybe a few more review pages and then be done. Once I figured that out, that took a huge load off of me. And so I encourage you to just flip through towards the back of the book, really see if there's any new concepts that need to be taught, and then just focus on those instead of trying to get in all of the review pages. The second thing that really stood out to me this year as I was teaching a fourth grader and a first grader is how much these concepts are still being repeated even in fourth grade. So even if my first grader doesn't finish her textbooks now that are teaching all of the concepts like parts of speech and introducing certain math problems to her, they're going to be repeated in second grade, in third grade, and even into fourth grade. They're going to still be learning those and learning how to master them. So we do not need to expect our children, especially our young kids, to master these concepts by the end of the year. Again, stop and pause, think about all that they have learned already, and then don't pressure them to become masters of these topics before the end of the year. They're going to be learning about them again next year. And then if you're still feeling pressured and you're still feeling guilty, here's something else I've learned. I have a lot of friends that teach in private schools and public schools, and they have also admitted that they do not always finish their curriculum or all of their lesson plans by the end of the year. There are things that they also had to cut out or that they just didn't have time to get to by the end of the year. So even if your kids were in school, there would be boxes that would be left unchecked by their teachers. And then as a final piece of encouragement and just as a gentle reminder, there is no set date that you have to end your school by. For us, we like to have our school finished up by the time we take a family vacation at the end of May. And that's just always been our personal goal. But there has been times when we've still needed to finish up a few things after that vacation, and it's been totally fine. There's no date that you have to follow in your homeschool. So if you feel like you really have some more concepts that you want your children to learn, or some more things that you want to get to before the end of the school year, take your time. There's no rush. You can school well into June and July, even straight into the next school year if that's what works best for your family. Many homeschoolers school all year round anyways, and they don't have like a start or an end. They are just in a continuous cycle of learning with periodic breaks throughout. So don't feel pressured that you have to have your school finished up by the same time that public school and private schools in your area are getting out of school, or that some other homeschoolers are finishing their school. If you're on social media and you're seeing everybody talk about the end of the year and that's not the story for your family, don't worry about it. Don't fall into a comparison trap and just stay the course with what's working for your family. I hope this helped encourage you as you get to the end of your school year. I hope that you are able to finish your school year with joy and a sense of accomplishment, looking back and seeing all that you guys have done together as a family, all that you've learned, and all the ways that you've grown. Make sure you mark those things down in your planner and not just the lesson plans that you completed. I promise you, you'll love to look back and see some personal notes written in your planner about how your kids grew and even maybe how you grew as a mom this year. If you enjoyed this video and felt encouraged by it, please let me know in the comments below and give this video a like, and then also subscribe to my channel. Every like and comment and subscribe means so much to me. I love being here in this homeschool community with you to encourage you. And I'll be back soon with more videos that talk about wrapping up the end of the school year, how to store your kids' school papers, how to go about testing your kids at the end of the year, and then hopefully with some videos looking at curriculum choices for next year. So please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when those videos pop up. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy homeschooling.